So Roger, welcome back to Italy.
Thank you.
New album, new tour. You've been here last time 5 years ago with The Wall, and now with Us and Them.
Yeah.
So what about this new show that you will do in double version, indoor and then outdoor?
Yeah, indoor and then outdoor. Yeah, we're here in April doing it indoors up north, and then come back to Rome and do it outdoors a couple of times. Well, Lucca and then Rome. Well, what can I say? We just finished, we did 64 dates in the USA and Canada, and it seemed to go well. I mean, in fact, it went unbelievably well. We had great audiences, and they seemed to be moved by it and shocked by it a bit, and some angered by it.
So you said that the audience may be shocked because of like the content of the message of the show.
People find it very moving, and in sometimes overwhelmingly so, but only because it's attached to all the things that I've always been attached to. Though I'm doing 4 songs from the new album, and the new album has some songs on it that are about love. There's a couple of love songs towards the end of the album, and it focuses on the transcendental nature of romantic love, of the possibility that if we're lucky enough to experience romantic love in our lives, whether it succeeds or fails in the long term, even in the short term, it can provide a kickstart to the centers of empathy that we all have within ourselves, which can be expressed in our relationship with others in less intimate situations.
And are you satisfied with your love experience in your life?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I am.
You've been on the pipeline, filling in time. Provided with toys, scouting for boys.
I saw your show at Coachella 10 years ago, and I was very impressed by the fact that there was a real aeroplane, like a war airplane passing over the audience. Will your outdoor shows this year have the same kind of...
There is no... Well, we've only done it indoors, so I've no idea what it will do outdoors. We will see. It's funny you should say that at Coachella, because I rented that plane specifically to drop confetti.
Okay.
And the confetti just said, "Vote Obama," so it was in 2008.
Yeah.
And most of it blew away from the polo grounds, and it ended up in people's swimming pools, and they were all trying to sue me for clogging up their pumps in their swimming pools.
And if I remember well, you lost your pig at that show, right?
Yeah, the pig escaped. Yeah, and they found it. It came down in sort of 2 different bits, and the promoter's golden voice, or Paul Tollett, who very kindly put up a reward, and so people were very happy to have found the pig in their back garden.
This exhibition, I saw the exhibition, and not for a minute it seemed nostalgic. It's kind of the message that comes out for me is that Pink Floyd and your work and what you've done in 50 years was always ahead. So it was always avant-garde. What's your sensation watching this exhibition? And
You may well be right. I don't know. I see it, I guess, from a different perspective, because it's a bit like being in my sitting room, or all the stuff from the 70s. I relate to. So lots of the stuff is like old friends. When I see that original azimuth coordinator that was built by a guy called Bernard Spate in Abbey Road Studios, hey Bernard, how could we do this? And they would scratch that, and then they would build something. I go, I think this might work, making sound go around, which I still use. Every show that I do, I have quadraphonic sound. So I don't know. I think it's an immersive experience. The lighting is low, and the Sennheiser thing works pretty well, going around and hearing music and hearing interviews and hearing stuff, so that it's so. I don't know. I understand why it was so successful in London. I think that's what I'm trying to say, and I suspect it will be here too. It's got there's a lot of content.
It's now 50 years since you played in Italy for the first time at the Piper Club, which is like round the corner from where
So I'm told, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of
No.
it? No, nothing.
No. I did ask somebody earlier today what month, and they said April, and I went, oh, so that was before David, before Gilmour. That must be, Sid must have, I think he was still in the band in April.
When you played in
1968,
Italy?
when we played in Italy, yeah. So where he was in his path, in his descent into not being able to communicate anything with anybody, I've no idea. So I've no idea what we might have done in April 1968. We had by then been professional for over a year. I suspect he was pretty far gone, but I have no memory of it. Sad.
What are your hopes for the future of this society? You're very involved in like social messaging, and of course it's not an easy moment for wars around the world, for Trump and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you see in the future? What are your hopes?
Well, it's not easy, except that the picture becomes more and more clear and stark. So when I ask the question, is this the life we really want? Which comes from a long poem that I wrote, which is basically saying, do we want to live in a state of perpetual war? I don't. Almost everybody I know doesn't. So why are we, you know? And of course, the Lindsey Grahams and John McCains of this world would point and say, well, it's because they're evil people, and or you know, the evangelical right wing in the United States might say, well, it's the Muslims, it's their fault, it's because they can't control their murderous impulses, so we have to go and kill them. But you can raise contrary arguments to that. They have no platform to stand on, because clearly the tactics that they're using in what they call the war on terror are clearly not working at all. You know, clearly everything that they do, including the drone program and the special forces and the this and that and the bombing of people, does nothing but create more people who want to kill Americans. That's what you do. If you had to draw up a plan to make the problem worse, this would be it. It's the perfect way to make it all worse. And so in a way, those of us who don't want to live in a state of perpetual war are in a position where we may be able to make some inroads into this. But then it means that we have to start questioning the way information is disseminated and how the propaganda war is effectively waged, particularly in developed Western societies, given the internet, and given that we now know that Google and Facebook are in cahoots with the government, and that they're running. Google now employed 10,000 people to edit their search engines to stop access to anti-war sites and left-wing sites. They're slowly being filtered out of everything. And that is scary. But, you know, will they be able to edit it all out before people start going, well, hold on a minute, could we just, I don't know.
All that you take and all that you see, all that you take, all you feel.
I'd like to get those arseholes from Google in a room and talk to them and say, why are you doing this? And see what they say. It's two of them. They're two fucking brothers. They're about that big. I've been in a room with them at a cocktail party. These are two young kids who know fuck all about anything. And yet they have this they've got this amazing power. And Zuckerberg is just a twit. He's a multi-billionaire, but he's he doesn't, you know. Somebody needs to say, you should go and sit down with Chomsky for 2 or 3 weeks and see and listen to him. He's wise. You're an idiot. Try and learn something. But of course, if you're a multi-billionaire, you go, no, I'm not. I'm a multi-billionaire. How can I possibly not be brilliant? It's a weird world.
Sta trasmissione è piena di brutte parole.